I'm Francine Beleyi and welcome to NOC TV and this new series about tech entrepreneurs. We are going to explore all the opportunities on the tech scene in Africa and what it takes to succeed there. With me today is Eunice Baguma Ball, an entrepreneur and builder of community-based ecosystems who helps to catalyze positive innovation. She is the founder of Africa Technology Business Network, ATBN, a London-based organization that is creating a bridge between the UK and Africa technology ecosystems with the aim of unlocking profitable opportunities for businesses in both economies. So Eunice, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, why did you start ATBN here in London?
So I started ATBN when I moved to the UK earlier last year in January. And my own background is working in the mobile payment space in Uganda and East Africa, which is where I'm from. Moving to the UK with my husband for work and finding that there was a lot of interest. So I had conversations with people. I was networking within the London tech scene and finding that a lot of people were surprised when I told them about all the stuff that I had done with mobile-based solutions, building mobile-based solutions for government organizations, charities, and private sector. And also had interesting conversations around things like the fact that in London they had cash on the buses, and I was, describing to them that mobile payments were what had taken off across Africa, and we were trying to move towards a cashless economy, and those conversations showed me that there was an interest and a lack of awareness around what was happening and what was possible in technology in Africa, and led me to set up the network.
Mm-hmm. So you use, of course, to work for other organizations back in Africa and in mobile payment systems, as you say. And why you did start your own business here in London rather than just going out there and work for another organization?
And so, firstly, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've grown up in a very entrepreneurial family. My mom has been an entrepreneur for most of my life, and I helped her in her business while I was growing up. But the truth is, with regards to Africa Technology Business Network, my very initial idea wasn't to run it as a business. It almost just happened because I set it up to essentially build my network within London. I have this passion for technology, Africa, and the impact it's having, the opportunities it's opening up. And I wanted to find out, are there other people that were interested in the same? And I found that there were, and the network has grown to over 570 members in a year's time. And it almost like it became a business in its own because people needed support with scoping out their ideas in Africa, with advisory support, and also helping startups to refine their Africa-focused ideas. So it wasn't intentional from the start to become a business. It just came out of my passion and bringing people together around the topic of technology in Africa.
Okay, so you also obviously were in Africa, as you say, and coming from Uganda. What are the success tech story you've seen in Africa?
So I think when we talk about success, I'm not necessarily going to talk about the big ones that are making, I guess, the most money. I think I'll talk about the stories that inspire me the most. One of them is a team of an all women team in Uganda called the Afrigal Tech. You can look them up on Twitter, and they've created a mobile app for computer science students straight out of university. They lost one of their friends to sickle cell, and they've created this mobile app that can quickly test if someone and find out if they have that sickle cell gene. And the fact that they looked around and this solution wasn't existing before, and they've come up they've developed a solution, mobile-based, very, very economically, and I think they went on to be one of the finalists for the Microsoft Imagine Cup. I think that story really inspires me on what's possible, A, by African youth, but B, by technology in Africa. Another story I love is there's a startup called Eurofit in Nigeria-based. I think they have a base in Europe as well. But they have a solution that allows merchants to receive card payments without need for connecting to the internet. And why I find that exciting is because I feel that it's a solution that is needed even in some parts of of the UK, and that's from my experience traveling to Scotland and finding some of the B&Bs don't accept card payments, and thinking that there's actually a solution that's being developed in an African country that could be of use to UK businesses. I find that exciting.
Mm-hmm. And how this Eurofit is different from M-Pesa, for example, in Kenya?
So M-Pesa is the innovation is really around the creation of this system that involves traditional banking and mobile network operator infrastructure, and creating something called a mobile wallet, and allowing the parts of those systems to create this almost virtual money and move that over telecom infrastructure. That was like the main innovation. So M-Pesa was one of the pioneers of that, and it's the biggest brand. It's run by Safaricom. So there is a lot of other mobile payment solution providers like MTN and Airtel now in Africa. While with Eurofit, it's a mobile-based app and hardware solution that's just specifically for receiving card payments.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you told us about those two success stories that you like and inspires you in Africa. But in the global sense, what really excites you about this African tech revolution or tech scene at the moment?
I think two things really excite me about what Africa Tech and the direction it's taking. Is one, like I touched on earlier, is the fact that in Africa, because of the lack of infrastructure, we are seeing that technology is allowing us to leapfrog or circumvent some of that chronic lack of infrastructure and find solutions that don't need a lot of infrastructure. The reason being is the infrastructure investment needed to create a lot of that infrastructure, so electricity for all the 6 million households that don't have access to electricity right now, or that the dams needed to produce that electricity, is going to take a while before that infrastructure is there. And what technology allows us to do is create some solutions that can circumvent those now, because people need solutions now. And whether you look at education or health, there's some really exciting innovations that are happening, which means that while some people who could not access healthcare or could not access certain information can access it now. So that overcoming infrastructure and sort of leapfrogging the old systems is one of the things that really excites me. The second thing that excites me is, like I said before, is the fact that some of the innovations we're seeing, in some cases, especially in mobile payments, Africa is actually ahead of some parts of the developed world, and we're seeing some of that innovation that might come out of Africa and actually be of use, which I think is really cool and very exciting.
Oh, lovely. So obviously as an entrepreneur, you know that the network is important. This is perhaps why you created the network. But in your own life as entrepreneur, who has supported you? Did you have a mentor?
So I have a mentor now. And I think that's one of the mistakes I made with my first startup, is I didn't really have a mentor. And I can't overemphasize how valuable that is. I think that as an entrepreneur, you can be so much in your head, and you see what you want to build, but you need to get those differing views on things. And when you're in a large company, there's different departments, there's different people that you have to listen to, and different considerations you have to make before you make any decision. And as an entrepreneur, you need to create a system around you of advisors and mentors that make you become accountable to someone. So even though, yes, it is your business, yes, this is the direction you want to take it, you being able to account and convince someone else that this is the right direction to take is something that is a discipline that you should definitely build in yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So another question is that the media report extensively about the lack of female entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs here in the UK and even in Africa. So tell me, what's your experience as a female tech entrepreneur?
It's one of those questions I never really know how to answer, to be honest, because I think I have so many identities, especially here in the UK. There's the identity of the fact that I'm foreign, I'm African, you don't sound the same as everyone else, you don't look the same necessarily as everyone else, and then you're female. And so I think for me, a lot of the time, those things, I keep them at the back of my mind, and I just have this focus on, in whichever room I go into, whichever interaction I have with someone, it's like, what do I want to achieve from this conversation? What can I receive from this person? And also, what can I give to this person? And I think because it's very easy to sort of be self-conscious and really look at all the strikes that you have against you, and it can be disempowering, in my opinion. I'm not downplaying, obviously, that there's challenges and there's real, and those conversations need to be had, and you need to be able to equip yourself on how to address certain situations. If you give an idea, or someone should sit down, or someone tries to take your idea, those are important conversations like women in tech and women in business need to learn. Myself, one of the things I'm learning is I'm not very comfortable having a conversation about money, and I'm in a women in tech group, and it's one of those conversations that have come up often. People talk about negotiation, and you have to put a price to your time, and having that confidence. I think those conversations are important, but I think you need to give them their place, and just always, yeah.
No, that's good. That just really leads me to, you told me about, having all those multiple identity in a place, in a land like London, where you don't sound like anybody else, you don't look like anybody else, etc. What's the importance of personal branding, do you think? How personal branding, or authentic personal branding, it is to achieve your mission and your goal?
I think it's everything, actually, and I'm really excited that you've asked me that question, because it's something that I think is very important. So for a long time, especially when I just moved to London, at that time I was looking at, can I find a job? All my experience is not in the UK, and like I said, you have all these I guess disadvantages for coming in as a foreigner and in tech and as a woman. But something I remember that my husband said to me, and he said, actually, don't underestimate what you know, and don't undervalue the fact that you're different. And it's something that has stayed with me, because I think that for each and every one of us, even if you're born in the exact same family as someone, there is just something unique about your perspective on something. So even if you have two people doing almost exactly the same businesses, there's always something different. So and I guess that's what the whole drive with get more diversity into these businesses is because if you're creating for a diverse consumer base, a diverse audience, those unique perspectives that people bring in, is very unique. And so as someone, don't be afraid about other people. The combination of your experiences, your perspective on life is so as unique as your thumbprint, and bring that into your business, because that's what's going to differentiate you. Stop trying to be like someone else. Consolidate all that you are and try and translate that into value for somebody.
No, that's good. That's good. Leads me to ask you, what's your philosophy in life?
I think that's it. Is really don't be the most you as possible. I believe almost like this unique space, like I said, that is a combination of your passion, your interests, your upbringing, your perspective on life, all these different experiences. Sorry, I'm just going to digress a bit. I remember in this Women in Tech group, there's this lady she creates ballet that is around teaching girls or teaching people how to code. So in her, she combines dance and technology. Like, she has a passion for technology and dance. To me, that is so unique. Like, who else would think about a ballet that is in the shapes of code? And I think that is what each of us can bring. Yes, I like this. I'm Ugandan, but I've also lived in London, and I'm female. Like, there's such a unique perspective you bring to anything and anything you do. So that's my philosophy, is bring all of you to everything that you do, and you will do something amazing.
One of the mission of ATBN is to bring together African and UK entrepreneurs together for win-win partnership. What are some of the opportunities perhaps that British organization or entrepreneurs can find in Africa?
I think, for me, one of the most exciting spaces right now is obviously, which is some of the obvious ones, but it's energy. I think there's a lot of opportunities coming up, and it's not around. I think with energy, it's not just around looking at everyone thinks solar. I mean, the solar solutions are there. There's a lot of them coming up. I think it's around how you make that accessible. So interesting models around financing, interesting models around ownership. So I've looked at different companies where one is creating this a phone charging hub, and their model is to select an entrepreneur in the community and almost give them ownership of that hub. No, so they retain the hub and they turn this person to an entrepreneur and they keep a percentage. So it's this interesting thing of, they realize this consumer, no one can exactly afford to buy the whole thing up front, but they've designed a model so that you generate income, and so you're incentivized to keep it operating, and you're incentivized to market it, and you're incentivized while making that technology available to your community. So I think when I talk about energy, I'm looking at that there's a huge market, there's a huge demand, and there's so many interesting ways to use even available technologies, but make them more accessible. E-commerce excites me as well, because and I don't think that currently anyone is doing it right, simply because I think that people are looking at the model of e-commerce the way it exists in the West and thinking, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to set it at online website, and I'm going to have all this stuff, and people are going to order and we're going to deliver to their houses. In Uganda we don't really have an address. You have to direct somebody by the tree and by the kiosk. So, and I think that a lot of the e-commerce we're seeing right now is people saying this is how e-commerce works in. I think there's a huge opportunity in e-commerce, and I think it needs someone coming in and studying how commerce currently works in Africa, which a lot of the time is you're buying something out of your car. Like I buy sunglasses out of my car, and there's all these mobile. It's like, where do people buy? They're buying in markets, they're buying in this. How can I make technology leverage these processes rather than thinking, oh, e-commerce has to be a certain way? So I think there's something exciting in e-commerce, and it's a huge opportunity that's being tapped into already. But I think that no one has quite unlocked the full potential of it, because Africans love to look good, Africans love to buy things, they love to buy things for other people, and you have the huge infrastructure challenge.
So, what's your message to African entrepreneurs or people from the diaspora who want to get involved in tech business in Africa?
I think that the message is, obviously you have to do your research, and you need to have partnerships with people on the ground who have that local knowledge of the market. And it's obvious because a lot of African diaspora know it. Every African market is different, and even though we call ourselves Africa Technology Business Network because we have members and we have those contacts in different African markets. But when you decide to do a business, you have to really narrow down to which market is the easiest for you to start that business in. It's not, a lot of African diaspora actually, every time they have an idea, it's for their home country. So you're from Togo, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you say, oh, I want to do something, and it's, I want to do it in Togo. And sometimes what we encourage people to do is, look at Africa. So that the solution you want to do, maybe it needs mobile payments, and mobile payments are most advanced in, say, Kenya. So why don't you pilot it there? Because then, you can get it off the ground quicker. Or you might say, oh, this regulation on this in Nigeria is very tight, but in this country it's easier. Or, in Rwanda you can set up a business in 48 hours. It's really the quickest place for you to, launch something, test it, and start to prove the concept. Especially if you're looking at raising investment from people, from investors in the UK. They want to see that initial traction. They want to see that proof of concept. And sometimes your home country is not exactly the easiest place to do that. So think about that as well. Look at, the fact that your African diaspora, you can't make that entry into different markets. You just need to go in and spend some time on the ground or build partnerships on the ground.
How easy it is for African entrepreneur to set up a business in a different country than their home country?
So I think I'm sure it's just as tough as, obviously coming into a different, you have the same challenges, but I would say it's not impossible. And I think that for my interactions with Africans here, there as much as we hate it when people say, Africa is a country, or, when people generalize Africa. The thing is, we have a lot of similarities, and so meeting people from different parts of Africa and having those same frustrations that we have, or the same hopes and dreams and the same passion. I think there is something that binds all of us. So I think with that, and we almost have this intuitive thing about this is how you speak to people, and this is how you're kind of sensitive to some of those things that maybe other entrepreneurs might not be coming from different cultures. So use that to your advantage. You can very easily blend in. Okay, fine, you might have a different accent or whatever. But yes, obviously, it doesn't mean that because you're African diaspora, it's going to be easy for you. There are going to be those challenges, whatever the environment is, to overcome, whether it's a super bureaucratic environment, or it's one of those, you need to know someone who knows someone type of environment. So, I mean, but it's the same as, an Ugandan coming to the UK and saying, I'm going to set up a business in the UK. There's always things to get my head around and to understand. So it's never going to be easy setting up a business anywhere. I think you just have to do it, yeah.
Okay, good. We are coming to the end of this interview, which was fascinating. Is there anything that you want to add, or something I should have asked you and I didn't ask you that you want to add before we finish?
I mean, I think, gosh. No, I think I'd just like to say, I mean, I'm obviously very honored that you've invited me to speak today, and I'm very excited myself about the interest that people have in Africa as the next frontier for business, as the next frontier for opportunities, technology in Africa. I'm also very inspired. I've been very inspired by yourself and other African diaspora as I've met. As I usually tell people, I don't actually consider myself African diaspora, because the first time I left Uganda, I was 26 or something. So essentially, my whole life, my whole schooling was in Uganda. So, and I remember you had, as an African in Africa, you have that perception that, when African diaspora are abroad or whatever, they've kind of arrived, and so they're not really thinking about back home necessarily, except coming back on holiday, and to come and to meet an entire community of people who are super smart, super educated, and super passionate about getting involved in shaping Africa's future and African development. That has really, really inspired me. And so like African diaspora do inspire me, people like yourself, and thank you for all you're doing as well.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure and an honor as well for me to have you in this show. So tell how people can contact you and connect with ATBN if they want to get involved.
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm Eunice Baguma Ball, or on Twitter, at EB_Ball. With ATBN, Twitter is the best. We love Twitter. We're always on Twitter. So follow us. We are at Africa TBN, and we'll normally follow you back and message us and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, and one more thing. We're also on Meetup. So we have Africa Technology Business Network on Meetup. So you can join in there, and there you'll be able to see when the next events are coming up.
So now that's all for today with Eunice Ball here at NOC TV. You can join the conversation and post your comments if you would like to get involved with ATBN or anything that NOC TV is doing in this series of Tech Africa Entrepreneur. Please post a comment below in this channel and subscribe, obviously. You can also have more information on my website, which is francinebeleyi.com, or follow me as well on Twitter, which is at Francine Beleyi.